A soldier participating in Kyiv's counteroffensive in southern Ukraine described the minefields in the region as extremely dense, forcing the troops to advance cautiously, tree by tree. He emphasized that in all his years of service, he had never witnessed such a high concentration of mines. Despite facing formidable challenges, he believed that his unit's actions were successful and effective. However, the pace of the counteroffensive has raised concerns among Ukraine's Western allies, as progress is being measured in meters rather than kilometers. The Western allies understand that Ukraine cannot defeat Russia without their assistance, but the slower-than-expected advance jeopardizes the sustainability of their support if the conflict prolongs. Many countries supporting Ukraine's war efforts are grappling with domestic issues such as high inflation, rising interest rates, and sluggish economic growth. These nations' leaders, some of whom face upcoming elections, must justify the substantial resources they have dedicated to Ukraine when their own citizens are struggling. This becomes increasingly challenging if there is little tangible success on the battlefield. Despite the lack of major advances, support for Ukraine remains steadfast. Multiple Ukrainian and Western officials acknowledge that the counteroffensive has not yielded significant progress, but they justify the slow pace considering the difficult circumstances. The front lines in southern and eastern Ukraine have experienced minimal movement in recent months, granting Russian troops ample time to fortify their positions and prepare for a counteroffensive. According to the Institute for the Study of War, ISW, a think tank based in Washington, strategic sections of the front line are heavily defended with multiple layers of fortifications, making it extremely challenging for Ukrainian forces to break through. General Mark Milley, chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, explained that the slow pace was expected since Ukrainian soldiers are fighting for their lives, assaulting through minefields and trenches. While progress is gradual, Ukrainian troops continue to advance, meticulously navigating through treacherous minefields, covering distances of 500 meters, 1,000 meters, or even 2,000 meters per day. Although Ukrainian forces brave deadly minefields on the ground, they lack air superiority and face frequent aerial attacks from Russian forces. Legion, a master sergeant from Ukraine's 47th Brigade engaged in the southern region, observed that the Russian forces had been preparing for this offensive for months. They have deployed artillery and aviation assets, including fighters and helicopters, to support their operations regularly. Ukrainian officials have repeatedly stated that while the counteroffensive is underway, the main thrust is yet to come. Deputy Minister of Defense Hanna Maliar mentioned that Ukraine was holding back some reserves for the forthcoming major push. ISW also noted that information shared by Russian military bloggers about the situation on the front lines suggests that Ukrainian forces are currently conducting smaller-scale attacks in different directions along the nearly 1,000-kilometer-long front line. Their objective is to exhaust Russian reserves before launching a significant offensive. President Volodymyr Zelensky emphasized the need for a strategic approach in deploying troops, considering the high cost in human lives for every meter and kilometer gained. He acknowledged the difficulties faced by the troops on the front lines but assured progress, albeit gradual, was being made. General Milley urged observers to remain patient, predicting that the counteroffensive could last 2 to 3 months. He cautioned against any illusions about the difficulties, length, and severity of the ongoing conflict.